Take a side step and cast our minds back to CACOVID, the Coalition Against COVID-19. That private sector group of people was definitely in its from the outset. The idea was wonderful. The organized private sector coming together to help people who couldn't help themselves during this this healthcare emergency. When you look at CACOVID, I remember when we first met, actually the first time we spoke, it was on the grounds of the healthcare center that you wanted to build in Yaba. And you made it clear that every single naira that was donated would be accounted for. When you cast your mind back to then and, to this moment of us speaking here, do you think that CACOVID served the purpose it was going to do? If we look at palliatives, I'm sure you saw those videos of you CACOVID handing over food to government and then them being hoarded. You would have seen that the healthcare center in Yaba went over budget, took far longer time for it to be built. I understand that the theory behind it was wonderful, but are you proud of the practice? Are you proud of what was created thereafter?
Let me tell you this. CACOVID is an initiative, a brilliant initiative of members of the private sector and the central bank and the bankers committee, and remains so because indeed during the period of COVID, at the ground zero, what you can call ground zero of the COVID, when countries were locked down, we set up CACOVID. And I can tell you, after CACOVID, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's no country in the world where we saw private sector people coming together to say, listen, we must do something to help our weak people. We must do something to provide facilities where people who are affected by COVID-19 can get treated, right? No part of the world was this one. So no regrets, and CACOVID remains and will continue to remain a very potent force where private sector people can come together to support initiatives of government to help the people. So no regrets about it. Now, what did it do? CACOVID was able to raise almost about 40 billion naira. Close to almost about 18 to 19 billion of that was used to build isolation centers in Yaba and in 36 states of the country, including FCT 37, right? We are happy that we did it, and the role or the objective for which it was set up, that was done, was achieved. Now, we also came out and said, look, listen, some people are, because of lockdown, some people are at home. Don't forget, at the initial stage of lockdown, people who were on daily wages were beginning to the incidence of robbery or stealing was beginning to rear its head because people couldn't find money to feed themselves or to buy themselves food. And so CACOVID said, listen, let us see what can be done. CACOVID, some members of CACOVID on their own private accord went about even paying close to about 30 million naira on a weekly basis for bread to be distributed to people. Right? Now, again, CACOVID said as a body, for those who are at home, but they want to be able to feed their families and themselves, that let us make it possible. Buy rice, sell more, all sorts of foodstuffs for them to be able to for us to distribute to them, for them to be able to make live well. And we spent almost close to about 22 to 23 billion naira doing that. We played our part, no regrets, right? We knew that it was impossible for CACOVID. We didn't have the logistics to reach the last mile. So we decided to collaborate with the state governors who had the structures with which we could reach the last mile. So they insisted the food items had to be delivered to them to deliver to the last mile. We insisted that we work with them to get to the last mile. In some cases, yes, we were able to work with them. Some of the state governors worked with us to deliver to the last mile. For some, unfortunately and regrettably, it was not possible for us to work with them to deliver to the last mile. So if that happened, still, there is no regret that we had CACOVID, and CACOVID came out to do what it had as an objective to achieve. No regrets at all.